The United States of America will pay to the bearer on demand $2. And what does that mean? Well, according to our Constitution, all lawful money is to be coined in gold or silver.
What's up, family? Today's video topic is about money. Okay, if you haven't already, click the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell for updated content. Okay, now before we get into this topic about money, some of you may become irate or become angry because of the confusion that you have caused to yourself or they have caused unto you, and so therefore you may not fully understand what is being presented in this video. So I would advise you to listen to this video at least 3 to 5 times. So there are two types of notes, and that's the United States notes and the Federal Reserve notes. Some of you may not have noticed or realized that that's what we've been using, but at the end of this video, you will realize the transformation of money. Okay? So without further ado, let's roll the clip.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about U.S. Treasury notes and Federal Reserve notes. So, what we're looking at here are silver certificates, and these were issued by the United States Treasury. And as you can see, it says this certificate is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. 1957. So these here are all 1957. And this one here actually is the oldest one that I have, the oldest one of the bunch, and it is 1935. Now, a little interesting thing about these is, as you can see there, it has the motto, "In God We Trust." This one here, interestingly enough, does not, because that was before "In God We Trust" became our national motto. So, back there in 1935, they didn't have "In God We Trust" on the money. And so these notes here, you could actually take to the bank or whatever and get yourself a piece of silver. This here is a United States note, along with this as well. Now, if you've ever seen these, they have, the difference here is these have red serial numbers. And like I said, United States notes, these were actually issued by the United States Treasury. And notice it says, "Will pay to the bearer on demand, $5. The United States of America will pay to the bearer on demand $2. And what does that mean? Well, according to our Constitution, all lawful money is to be coined in gold or silver. So this $10 bill here, this is a Federal Reserve note, as you can see. And this one was issued in 1934. Now, something I wanted to point out about this, another little tidbit here about how they used to be more honest even on the Federal Reserve notes. The new ones say, here, we'll go over here to a newer $100 bill. And all the newer currencies, they say, "This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private." And that's all they say. Now, they used to be a bit more honest, even on the Federal Reserve notes. And this one here says, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. So you see, they play semantics. It's legal because they said it's legal and they had the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. However, lawful money, according to the Constitution, is supposed to be in gold or silver.
Now this might seem like a rather silly question, but I think it's one of those questions that people might be too embarrassed to ask, but there's no shortage of people wondering. The short answer can be summed up in one word: inflation. Inflation is defined as a persistent substantial rise in the general level of prices related to an increase in the volume of money resulting in the loss of value of currency. But I'll get to that. First though, we need to establish exactly what money is. Now this may seem obvious, but something that you need to understand is that money has absolutely no intrinsic value. What that means is that money in itself has no actual value, it's only considered valuable because it can buy things. But if you were stranded on a desert island, money would be totally useless. Money only has value because we believe it has value. This is called the Tinkerbell effect, something I learned about from Vsauce. The Tinkerbell effect is used to describe something that only exists because we believe it exists. And this is the case with money. Hypothetically speaking, if people suddenly started to believe that money had no value, it wouldn't have value. Of course, it wasn't always this way. Money has been around for millennia, and when it was first used, it was in the form of commodity money. Things were traded that had actual value and uses like salt, spices, horses and weapons, as well as precious metals such as gold and silver, which technically don't have any intrinsic value either, but due to their rarity they're almost universally accepted as currency. Then we have representative money. Since carrying around everything you own can be difficult, representative money makes more sense. Basically, you give your gold to a bank and they keep it safe for you, and in return they give you a piece of paper acknowledging that you own that gold. These pieces of paper can therefore be used as money, as anyone can go and redeem the gold at any time. But today, almost every country in the world uses fiat money. Fiat money requires faith and trust in the government that their money will have value. If we use a relatively young country as an example, the United States has gone through all three monetary systems within 200 years. In 1792, when the United States stopped using European money, the Coinage Act of 1972 brought the inception of the US dollar. The US dollar was originally in the form of commodity money in the form of gold, silver and copper coins. The coins were actually made from real gold, silver and copper, and the value of the metal that made the coins were exactly equal to their face value. The country then moved on to a mixture of commodity and representative money with the 1900 Gold Standard Act. The government issued dollar bills which could be exchanged for gold at any time. Gold standard is a type of representative money that many countries used at the time. This was an effective way to accurately calculate the exchange rate between countries. For example, if 1 gram of gold costs £1 in Britain and $1.50 in America, then you can easily deduce that £1 must equal $1.50. Gold coins were discontinued and the silver was removed from the other coins, effectively ending commodity money in the United States. In 1971, Richard Nixon officially abandoned the gold standard and the US moved on to fiat money. So today, money isn't backed by gold or anything else of value for that matter. So back to the question at hand. Basic economics tells us that an increase in supply results in fall in demand and therefore a fall in price. So the more money in the economy, the lower the value of each dollar, meaning other countries can purchase more dollars in exchange for their currency. A second supply and demand graph shows why this leads to a rise in prices. More money in the economy causes a shift in the demand curve for goods and services, but since this isn't matched by an increase in economic output, prices must rise. Look at it this way, if the government printed $1 million and posted it to everyone in the country, causing everyone to go out and buy a sports car, but there's only a finite number of sports cars in the country, so the logical thing to do is to increase the price of a sports car.
Now, as I stated in previous videos, do your own research. Don't believe me. Don't believe nothing in the videos. But I challenge you to go find it out for yourself. Okay? We allow ourselves to become distracted. Everything that we do that is not focusing on the main purpose of why we are here is a distraction, okay? This what we refer to as money is what is being used to kill, to steal, and destroy. Money is being used in multiple forms that isn't serving a better purpose for either of us. Okay? Some of us think that we're using money, or we're making this money to pay for things. And you must come to the understanding that this is a promise to pay. Okay? This is not actually paying for what it is that you actually want to purchase. This is not paying for it. This is only promising that you will pay for it in the amount of whatever it is it could be. So therefore, this is why we constantly get hit with payments, or we're constantly spending this. It says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So we're using this paper dollar, this Federal Reserve note. We're using that, and we don't really fully understand what is being done. Okay? This is just an IOU, a promise to pay. This is not real money. You see? Not real money. It is being presented as if it's real money. I tell you, in fact, it's not.